Steve.
Hey everyone, just me and Jay, I guess, for right now.
Bob just called me. I don't know. I didn't pick up because we were.
There's Evan. Hey, Evan.
Hey, guys.
Evan, you were 3 seconds late.
3 seconds late, but 29 minutes and 57 seconds early because I said I didn't think I was going to really be here till 5:30 today.
Yeah,
I know. I mean, we literally just started though. That was.
I know, so it's perfect timing. Hello, Ian, and hello, everyone.
Did you guys hear about the Godfather, one of the godfathers of artificial intelligence, like quit Google recently and said,
Yeah.
Yes, I read that.
You know, he's like, I'm very concerned. You know, this could be more, more important than dealing with global warming. We might have to deal with artificial intelligence first.
Well, okay, that's a big claim.
Yeah. I read his article. I wasn't impressed.
Me neither. And like, I'm also always saying, like, you're not giving enough information here. Like, what is going to happen? What's going to actually happen? That's going to topple our society. Like,
it's like the precautionary principle. It's the unknown. It's like, who knows what people are going to do with it. And I get it. I mean, I think the legitimate concern is that a bad actor will figure out a way to exploit it. I mean, it's going to be in I think the area of I guess either cybersecurity or disinformation, right? Those are the two realms where, it could be very dangerous. But I think that means if nothing, we need to get a handle on it. What else? We don't have it. The genie's out of the bottle. It's too late. It's not like we can put it back in there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree that the combination of social media and artificial intelligence could get dicey. But anybody who's getting their news from social media today, you should reconsider that.
Be careful.
Yeah, because
tread carefully.
You're on a platform that is feeding you information that it has determined it wants you to see. I don't know. I just want to hear someone say, here are the 50 things that can happen. It needs to be a more nuanced conversation than we've got to worry about it.
But it's vague.
Oh, I'm here.
I heard Ian.
You mean it's vague in general?
No, I just mean that they're concerns are vague. Like something bad's going to happen. Like what? What's going to happen?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Like, give me some details.
Right. Tell
man.
me that AI is going to suddenly, take over critical components of the Army's nuclear capabilities and will jeopardize, like those kinds of things. Or
Yeah, is it going to go full Colossus on us or what?
Exactly. Like
no,
the
but I don't think
details are important. If we don't know, like you just said, Ed, like if we don't have those details, then all he's doing is scaring the public.
Yeah, it's speculation. It's fear mongering, is it? I don't, I mean, I'm sure the person is legitimately concerned. I don't doubt their sincerity in what what they're expressing or what they're feeling. I just don't, it's just too nebulous sort of to translate into something, tangible, actionable.
Yeah.
And what is his suggestion? Like
Bob.
not do it and
Exactly.
stop it,
Like
or
in the idea that like there should be a freeze on artificial intelligence development, like I'm skeptical of the whole premise. Like, first of all, you can't police that. You're just basically asking companies, stop for 6 months and we'll do what? I don't know. Like, the whole thing just seems so nebulous and undefined. And, aren't we in an artificial intelligence arms race at this point with the rest of the world?
Basically.
Probably, yep.
Yeah, so like
accurate.
Stopping for 6 months, researching something that is quote unquote as or more important than global warming.
It could be counterproductive.
Yeah.
I'll tell China to stop and see what they tell you.
Right. I'm sure they'll do that.
Okay,
none of these comments seem well thought out to me. Like where's the intelligence behind the whole thing? Let's have a real conversation about it instead of like people that used to work at Google coming out and saying these profound things. Like, let's talk about reality. What can happen and what could we do to mitigate what could happen?
I'm sure there are serious people who take that tact and who have probably expressed some things to that end, but I guess that doesn't make the headlines as much as the scary stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
But I imagine if we researched it hard, we'd be able to find it somewhere out there. It's just not getting the same attention that the other stuff is.
Jay, is there a cat on your lap?
Yeah, I got Sophie here. Here's my cat. Let me see if I can get her up.
Hi, Sophie.
There's Sophie. Hello, Sophies.
Oh, look at that.
That's my little baby.
How old is Sophie?
Did you choose her?
Sophie was born in 07.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ian.
Thank you, Evan.
Good one.
Okay, so 16?
Yeah, so I brought her to the vet a few months ago, and the vet was like, she's remarkably in good shape for a cat her age.
Good.
A friend of ours, work friend from Jocelyn's, her cat is 17 years old and just died, unfortunately. So the cat was just missing, and
like
it just went. It just went outside to die, basically. You know how cats will do that?
Yeah.
It just walked off into the woods. My wife Jocelyn found it for her, but there was no sign of any predation. It just was dead. So probably just felt sick and just wandered off and died.
So that's a real thing, like like what the seagull flies out to the ocean to die in the ocean, and what the elephant's graveyard kind of idea is that a? I don't think it's ever come up on the show, but I never really took too much stock in that being necessarily the truth.
Well, I think maybe animals that like den, like they live in a group in a place, may have that instinct, so they don't die in the middle of their living space. You know what I mean? It's like they feel sick enough, they have this instinct to wander away, so they don't lure in predators or scavengers to their lair.
Okay, there's a practical
makes
approach
sense.
Sort of.
Well, my wife's one of the dogs that she had when she was younger did that same thing, just sort of disappeared one day, and it was old and frail, and they figured the same thing. It got sick and wandered off. I think I told this story, and then I found it. It was probably 12 years, 15 years after it died. It was obviously just bones. I found bones in their backyard. I'm like, I wonder what this is. And I identified, I had to, because, it wasn't obvious what it was.
Did you do an archaeological dig?
Yeah,
I did.
Pathology.
I found as many bones as I could. And I tried to identify the skull, and it was a dog skull. And then they realized, oh, that must be whatever the name of the dog was.
That was Rex.
Yeah.
Did you see what JSL said?
That was little Jimmy.
Humans moved to Florida.
Yeah, instinct to go to Florida.
Yeah. Once you're there, you definitely want to die.
Bob, what did you say? You said that was little Jimmy?
That was Jimmy. That's what happened to Jimmy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, let's not talk about cat death right now because
No. Today's a happy occasion.
All right, so are you guys familiar with Meteostat 12?
Never. Don't know anything about it.
It's a drug or something.
No, it's a satellite. It's a European satellite. It's a weather satellite.
What happened to it?
Nothing. It's in orbit. It's in geostationary orbit.
Okay.
And it takes pictures of the entire Earth every 10 minutes, and it's over Europe, so it's getting basically the weather going over Europe.
Neat.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's higher resolution. It's more, frequencies. A bit more detailed images. But I wrote about it. I had to comment that it breaks a lot of the flat earther tropes because it's not NASA. It's a European organization,
and it's doing something that you shouldn't be able to be possible if we're on a disc.
It shows the globe of the Earth. unequivocally, and it's the whole. It's not a composite or anything. It's the whole Earth at once. We have other satellites that do that, but this is just a non-NASA one.
You know what news caught my eye big time this week?
What?
The drone that exploded over the Kremlin, and then Russia claimed that there was an assassination.
Yeah, assassination. Yeah.
And then I read another article.
Into that.
They were saying like the drone that was used could be bought at Best Buy. It wasn't a military drone. And then they were saying that they think that Russia may have done it to
false
give them,
flag.
to give them a reason to do whatever they're going to do with this freaking war.
You never know. That's always a possibility in all those weird kinds of scenarios. Absolutely, no, you cannot discount that.
Yeah,
that's a possibility. How are you gonna get to that truth though? For certain, with certainty, because you're just gonna have one side saying absolutely one thing and the other side saying absolutely, and
Russia blamed the U.S. too.
Send a team of scientists in there to do an analysis and a third.
Yeah, but you'll never get truth out of Russia.
You'll never get it.
You can't forget about it.
You'll never get it. So yeah, gosh, that's been happening in warfare that's not new.
But I know they're full of shit about the whole thing because they blamed the United States. And if they really thought that we tried to assassinate Putin, there would be more of a reaction than what we're getting right now.
Yeah.
Right? It would be a huge deal if one nation legitimately tried to assassinate the leader of another nation. That's not just like, oh, you guys did this and we're upset about it. That's like go to war serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know. To me, it seemed like a feeble attempt. Really, you're gonna explode something in some part of the building where you think Putin was at the time.
It doesn't matter how lame it is. It still serves his. It's just
putting shingles on the roof.
Serves his purpose. Just
right. It's the right. Remember the Maine.
Somebody said that Putin would have to have been standing on the top of the Kremlin, outside, in order for this thing to do any damage to him in any way. He wasn't even in the building at the time. The whole thing just seems so constructed to me. It's just a news item that they wanted out there to make an excuse for something.
So the other Russia news I read today that caught my eye was the head of Wagner.
Yes, I read that.
Yeah, a mercenary company that is a proxy for the Kremlin.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually have trained fighters. So they're the ones who are holding off in that one city that's really highly disputed. Let me see if I can find it really quick. And he's threatening to pull out because he's not getting the support that he says he needs. They're not getting.
His soldiers are getting massacred.
Yeah, because they're not giving him the ammunition that they promised, and so if he does pull out, so you have to think, maybe is that a false flag operation? Is that just like trying to throw disinformation to Ukraine? But I don't know. He had this angry rant video that he put online that seemed
that's
pretty
what that guy
genuine.
was.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I was confused about that too, Steve, because it seemed like he was overstepping in a sense, like it was a dangerous thing to say in Russia, but maybe he's got a lot of political
power. He's got a lot of
power.
juice, this guy.
Yeah, that's what
he's the only one who's getting anything done militarily in, for the Russians.
I was saying Bakhmut, maybe.
Yeah, Bakhmut. Yeah, that's right. That'd be great though if he pulled out. If he splits with Putin, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
You better
I wonder
took him out.
if it'd be a clean break or kind of a
I feel like when it comes to this war,
heated.
People on the ground like us, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
We're several layers removed. We're not in the room where it's happening.
No, so many things. I mean, think about it. How many things did we learn about the events of World War II in the decades afterwards? After it was studied and researched for long periods of time. In fact, so some stuff, they're just figuring out recently, new developments and new details and stuff like that. So you can't know. It's impossible to know. And through the fog of, not just the war itself, but, the media and propaganda that flies around these things, you're not going to really know what the heck was going on here, some kind of truth for many years to come.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it'll take a long time to disentangle, what's actually going on. Because you're in the middle of a war and you kind of understand it. I mean, you can't give accurate information, that would, feed the enemy information.
Right.
Against you. So.
Remember when Jaws came out? What, 1975? Did that movie come out or something? And they wrote in the scene, the famous the Indianapolis story, which he's talking around the story. That only became declassified like a couple years prior to that. I think 1972 or something, like that. Yeah. Right? Oh my gosh, that happened in 1945, and only in 1972. Did it become sort of common or declassified knowledge that horrid event had
in
happened.
That movie? It was the first time many people were hearing about it.
That's right.
Evan, did you know that when they first shot that scene, that the guy, what's the actor that played Quint?
Robert Shaw.
Robert Shaw was so drunk that he couldn't.
Oh yeah.
He couldn't do it, so they had to shoot it again. And I'm sure he was drunk the second time too, but he couldn't pull it off the first time.
Shaw was apparently a pretty nasty alcoholic from the rumors.
But that was probably the best scene in the movie.
Oh, absolutely.
It was powerful.
Without question. It made the movie. And John Milius actually wrote apparently that particular scene of that movie. And if you know John Milius from like Apocalypse Now and Red Dawn and so many other, because he's this military kind of historian who also is written in so many, scenes and scripts for so many of those movies, brought that into that particular movie. And, for those of us who enjoy the works of John Milius, you recognize that, that feature.
It's brilliant. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I enjoyed it as a kid when I watched it in the theater. I could only imagine what it felt like to actually know what was going, know more details about the war and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You watched that scene, Jay? I thought you were like this for the whole movie.
I was traumatized.
Yeah, my parents, I was too young. My parents didn't take me to see it. And, they certainly didn't want me to have, as I was starting to learn about how to swim, this inherent sort of fear of the water, or some kind of fear that would prohibit me from perhaps learning how to swim. So they kept it from me until it appeared on TV sometime later on. And that's when I first saw it.
70s parent fail right there. My parents had no business letting me watch that movie when that movie came out.
Well, the problem with you, Jay, is that you were 4 to 5 years younger than your older brothers.
Yeah.
So we were going to see all these movies. You were too old to be left behind, but you were a little young, really. Like if you didn't have older brothers, you wouldn't have seen that movie then.
That's true.
Very true. Because we were right on the, I think, borderline in terms of seeing it. Because we were 12 or something.
That's
when
a scary young age to see that movie too. You know,
Yeah.
like look. The fact is,
Yeah, I'm like, man.
Bob.
the movie traumatized everybody that watched it, pretty much. Even
Bob, what movie
Cool.
I want to know the movie that traumatized you, Bob. What level did you have to get to for you to say like, "Whoa, I'm having a reaction here"?
There is no movie. I remember watching. The Sentinel, and I briefly tried to look away for one scene where this woman takes a knife and cuts off this guy's nose, and then like slices his eyeball.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But I watched it, and that's the only one I was a little squeamish about. I was pretty young, but that's the last time I did that. I never will. I paid good money, and I love that shit.
Or do you find any movies creepy? I mean, I don't get
creepy, yeah.
Creepy, yeah. I thought the first time I saw
Freaks was creepy.
The Ring. I thought that was a legitimately creepy movie.
Yeah, that's definitely creepy scenes. But and I get startled because that's just like a knee.
Well, yeah, there's jump scares or jump scares. I mean, that's
but
cheap.
really afraid or terrified. No, that doesn't really. That doesn't.
The Shining was my first experience with that. That was
Shining is awesome.
And I saw it 10 years old, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'll make it through this movie." I'm like, I'm going to have nightmares.
I've never not made it through a horror movie. That's for sure.
I remember seeing The Thing in the theater and being scared. But now it's now I love that movie. I adore that movie.
You look back on it.
I do notice though that watching like real stuff like now, like I used to watch like Faces of Death and real like snuff stuff, and it didn't bother me. But now for whatever, now that I'm older, I don't like watching the real stuff. It's just like, and my mom is like, she'd put on one of those medical shows because I work from home, but I do it at my mom's place just to make sure she doesn't kill herself. And she's watching these medical shows, and the doctor's doing crazy shit. I'm like, Mom, I'm eating lunch. I don't want to that real stuff. It is disgusting, but I'll watch. So
Dr. Pimple Popper and that kind of.
Oh my God, yeah. But I don't want to watch that crap. It's like it's not interesting. It's gross. It's not a special effect. So it's like I don't want to. And she's watching it like eating popcorn. Like, Ma, how could you watch that? So
TikTok will throw crazy shit in your face. As you're scrolling through and you're like, whoa, I didn't want to see that. I hate that because I hate the idea that I don't have any way to direct what's coming up in my feed,
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff I won't like. I saw, you remember, I don't know, it was some terrorist thing where they had a guy on the screen and they cut his head off.
Yeah, with a big knife, right? Back in the Al Qaeda days.
Yeah, it was like I watched that and I was like,
"You watched it? Oh, I didn't watch that.
Fuck that! I watched some of it. Like I'm not watching that.
No, I cannot.
Again,
no interest.
I have no interest in watching people suffer on any to a degree where you know what that kind of outcome is going to be ahead of time. No.
Yeah, that's just way too much. But I'll watch any special effect if you can get through Ash versus the what the hell? Ash versus the Living Dead. What was that series?
Which one? Oh, Evil Dead.
Yeah, but right? Ash. It was a series of Ash versus the Evil Dead. Somebody in the comments will come up with the full title. But and this is like in the past 5 years. This is relatively new. Ash versus the Evil Dead, I guess it was. That was like over the top gore that I mean, you think you've seen gore. This had stuff that I never imagined would ever be put on celluloid. Remember that expression? And it was fantastic. I love that series, every minute of it. But that was like, man, it was over the top, creative, realistic, and nasty. I loved it. If you like Evil Dead, you got to watch that series.
It's a gore fest, for sure.
But yeah, to a degree that I'd never imagined. It was fantastic.
I didn't like in 2001 when Hal turned the pod on and cut the life cord of not Poole but the other astronaut. What was his name? That disturbed me, and then to see the guy kind of just suffering, floating in space, and knowing that he's like, suffocating to death. Oh my gosh, that I was really horrified.
That
at
was
that
supposed to
scene.
be disturbing.
That was extremely disturbing. The quietness of it all, like
Oh God, I know what
it was
an effective tool.
like it was a Hannibal Lecter kind of thing. You know, his pulse never raised above 80. You know, when he bit the woman's face off, kind of thing. You know, that sort of same feeling of
Great movie.
coldness, absolute coldness of death, of killing something else that coldly. Oh gosh, what a terrible thought. Horrible thought. Why are we here? Why are we talking?
I don't know. This is what conversations do. They take you crazy places.
They take all kinds of crazy directions.
So we've been talking behind the scenes about Nauticon.
Yes.
And I sent out a message to all the patrons. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm confusing Nauticon with the 6-hour live stream. For the 6-hour live stream, I sent a message out to all the patrons and I said, anybody want to come on the show? Mm-hmm. And I am still waiting for people to respond. I don't know what happened. Nobody.
No response.
No response yet. People might be a little like, I don't know if, it's intimidating.
Scared.
I guess. Yeah, they're scared.
We are only going to ask 3 questions of each person who comes on the show. No, come on. Yeah, respond, please. It'll be fun.
What is everybody doing this weekend?
I think it's going to be the first weekend where it's not raining and it's warm enough that I could do some yard work.
I will be outside tomorrow.
So garden and yard work.
You sure it's not going to rain?
That's what I was told.
I can't believe the amount of rain we've been getting.
Yeah, we got a ton of it this week.
Yeah, but that's good. We need it. Happy. Rain is good. As long as it's not flood. Rain is good.
Yeah, definitely. I'd rather have it be a little rainy than have us be in a drought.
Yeah, and it's the right time of year for it. Definitely.
A lot of people are saying they didn't get that email, Jay.
Oh, look at that.
I sent it out on Patreon.
Yeah, I'm assuming these are patrons.
Yeah, Ian, what maybe we should do is we could pull all the email addresses and I'll send it again.
Yeah, we'll just send it through the MailChimp.
MailChimp. I heard that in a while.
So does anybody have any questions about Nauticon? This is the conference in November. Evan.
Jay, what's the dates of Nauticon again?
That's Friday, November 3rd, and Saturday, November 4th.
And where will it be taking place?
In White Plains, New York.
And how can you get a room? By clicking that button.
Yeah.
Or scanning that QR code.
Whatever. Yeah, you can scan the QR code that is on the right-hand side of Steve's face.
There it is.
I think the live hides it.
Yeah, the live thing gets in the way. Yeah,
there you go.
Right there. This is register. Yeah. This is the registration, and then you also got to book a room.
I'm excited. So I don't think I said this last week. Ian and I were talking to George, and George came up with a couple of ideas. One of them in particular, I really hope we can do it. I'm just going to say what it is. It doesn't matter. I feel like not saying it is kind of silly. George wants us to do an Iron Chef. A legit Iron Chef, where a certain number of us are gonna have to use the ingredients that are there to make something, and then we'll have. What I'd like to do is pull people from the audience to be the judges.
Well, like chopped, you mean?
Yeah, like we're gonna cook something with you have here are the ingredients. Make something.
Who's we?
It could. I don't know. I don't know who's gonna do what yet. I just know that I want people that are attending to be the judges.
That's interesting. Would they let you do that? How would you?
That's the question. That's the question, because I know that we're not allowed to bring in our own food. But
so we'll go to the hotel's kitchen, take it over, and do it inside their kitchen with their food.
No, we have to cook it there in the room. So I got to find out if the hotel will let us do this.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I would think not.
Someone pointed out that November 3rd is when Dune Part 2 premieres.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? I'll go.
They said buy out a theater.
100,
I was like,
300 of us are
out
gonna
a theater.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean,
that's very interesting.
Is it streaming as well? What if we streamed it?
Are we
we
allowed
get sued?
I don't think you can legally do that.
Yeah, it says only theaters. So no.
Huh.
But we could rent a theater, like a late show, like a super late show.
Yeah, do like the 11 o'clock show or something.
In Yonkers, there's that Good theater.
Yonkers.
Yonkers. Go to Yonkers.
What's that theater? Those ones with the food. I can't think of it.
Cabaret.
So
No.
if that's coming out
from
November
Texas.
3rd, I would imagine that they finished principal photography at this point.
Roadhouse.
Yeah.
There's trailers, right? Yes. Yeah, I
There's a
would think so.
trailer.
Yeah.
But I think they put
trailer.
trailers out sometimes before they finish all of it.
Yeah, they do.
Probably, yeah.
You know,
I'm
right?
looking forward to that. This is the good half of the movie, as far as I'm concerned.
All right. No
Yeah,
spoilers.
I loved it, but I just think the best parts are to come.
I'm looking forward to the conference because it's going to be like no other conference, certainly that we've hosted or I think been to.
Yeah, I've been getting emails from people who are like saying, oh, you know, they just feel like they need to tell me, I'm trying to go, I'm trying to change my plans, you know, like, so I feel like there's a lot of excitement out there. And I think I'm looking forward to it because I just haven't been to a meat space conference and I don't even remember the last one we went to, you know.
Oh gosh.
I don't have a recollection of the last time all of us went to a conference.
Yeah, I know. We've done extravaganzas, we've done live SGU recordings, but not conferences per se since COVID.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, nothing since pre-COVID.
AC after COVID. Bob is the serious one. I agree.
Yeah, what's up, Bob? What's the
Chris.
matter?
Nothing.
And a rough week? You want to get something off your chest? You want to admit something to us?
Well, all right. Why didn't I get the link? I'm looking at my emails. Like, there's no link for the stream. No, I didn't.
You're CC'd. You're CC'd.
Isn't it Bob Novella?
Is it not?
Don't-
Let me look.
Let me not
Wow.
dox
So
him.
I will confirm.
So
what I'm hearing from you, Bob, what I'm hearing is that you're actually angry at Ian. but
No.
you just don't know how to say it. So why don't you just in plain language tell Ian what it is that you're angry at him about?
I didn't blame me. I blame you, Jay.
Well, we
You're
can't
angry at me.
Yeah.
It went to
Well-
it went to your email, Bob. I'm not going to say it on the.
Bob said no dumplings for me.
Oh
So.
man.
Now I will give you this
No,
though.
there
The
you go.
link that came through today, Ian, it has the black background in blue type,
Okay,
so it looks
let
like
me-
a black bar.
let
and that's
me-
hard to see. Go ahead.
Let me admit some illegal activities. I was stuck in traffic, and so I was doing it from my phone while I was in
boy.
traffic.
Holy Jesus.
Oh,
And I remoted into the SGU computer to copy it all, and so it was all a little funky. And then
All right.
I was still in traffic while Steve and Jay were coming on, and I toggled. That's why you couldn't hear me.
Oh yeah.
I
So we
see.
Toggle
went
you
into
on
the
and off.
show without
Then you
any-
came on.
Yeah, I
like
didn't even say anything. That's why I was late.
5:07. Check.
Somebody
Yeah,
said
that's
that
why.
Bob has resting Bob face.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I
Yeah.
love it.
People used to just randomly like, "What's the matter? Like, what are you mad at?" I'm like, "No, I'm not mad at anything." It's just like, I guess resting serious face or Bob face is a
Just
good
my
way.
Bob
Bob-
face.
Bob's like, I'm not within 30 feet of a corpse. I'm unhappy.
Yeah. About it. Or peanut butter.
Oh man. Yeah, but when you see my new corpse coming in the mail, Jay, you're gonna be like, "Bob, good decision."
Corpse coming in the mail. That's
Yeah.
good. That won't get flagged for any kind of
Right? Same thing occurred to me. I'm like, I've never heard that
NSA
before.
alert. Yeah.
That was my. Jay, I've showed you pictures, Jay, right? Of that?
I've seen it. I've seen it many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you
I've
could
seen the
throw-
missing persons pictures. The wanted
It's good.
postings,
It's
all of
cool.
Jay, it's cool is like a horrible adjective.
it.
What would be your adjective?
Must you
then?
undersell something as important
Like
as this?
utterly fantastic,
Oh, you wanted a 2-word.
corpulent. I'm trying to find a damn picture of it. God damn it. Yeah, it's just like I got to think of something really good for the. Oh yeah, okay. Here she is.
Oh, it's okay.
Wow.
Lovely.
Just like an amazing sculpt,
This
amazing.
was nice.
Amazing paint job. Just like, I can't wait. I think I'll just set her up in the cemetery like she's just like a random zombie. It's going to be nice.
Why do that? Put her in the passenger seat of your car and drive her
Definitely.
around wherever you
Oh
go.
yeah, HO.
I always
HOA?
put something in the.
HOV.
I usually put a skeleton in the passenger seat. I got to be careful though, because I mean I don't want to cause any accidents. That's something that I got to think of. It can't be too like what the hell, you know? Like I had my I had my evil clown next to me one year. It was the
man.
best. I mean, Jay, you've seen this is like a demon clown. It doesn't get more
it's
evil.
scary.
And
I mean, to someone who isn't used to this stuff, if you rando saw that thing driving past you, like you people freak out.
And the best thing I ever did was stopped at a street light, and Rotten Cotton is the name of the clown, was right next to me, and there was a guy over there. I could see the guy looking, so I put my hand behind the clown.
Oh, and you turn the head?
Slowly, I'm looking ahead, and the clown slowly turned his head.
Yeah.
And I think the guy remembers that to this day. That was
He
shit,
still
man.
can't get the stains out. I hear,
What you have to do, Bob, is get a car that was built for like the UK, and then you secretly drive from like the passenger seat, and you have like, a zombie in the driver's seat with a fake steering wheel. That would.
Oh my God!
Clever.
Go to a drive-through. I've seen some pretty funny drive-through videos though of people just do crazy shit for the drive-through. That would.
Yeah, but you'd have to pay for the corpse, so that'd be unfortunate.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So,
oh boy,
what do you guys think about Trump's rape trial?
I've been following.
What a
it.
segue.
It's like
I haven't really
Trump's
been following.
lawyers are not very good.
It's not a criminal case, right? It's a civil case.
It's civil.
Case. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's going to end soon. You know, like it's actually like winding down at this point. That's crazy. I mean, it's incredible that this is happening.
What's amazing is that he's politically viable despite the fact that he's being sued for rape.
Oh yeah, those days are gone where something very minor or even something fairly big is going to have a big impact.
No, because the supporters all think it's a railroad. It's all fake. All fake. That's what they think.
And the post-truth society, it's just like
evidence be damned, right?
It doesn't matter. I mean, who was the guy running for president who just had a sketchy picture of some woman on his lap on a boat, and the name of the boat was, what was it like?
Yeah, the Monkey Business.
Monkey Business.
And that was Donna Rice was the woman, and the candidate was what's his name from Colorado? That what was the guy's name? Someone.
I mean, that was it.
Gary Hart.
That was it. He was done. Gary Hart. Thank you.
It is amazing when you compare that reality to what we have today. I mean, I don't think anything could be leveled at Trump that would just get his people to wake up.
I like when it comes to like the rape trial. From what I could tell, like even his core believers, I think they believe it. They don't think he's being railroaded. I just think they don't care. Like they're like, yeah, okay, we don't care.
That's even worse.
Yeah,
it's even worse.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I just feel
he's a flawed person, but he's our person. He's our warrior.
Yeah. Look what he did for the Supreme Court. It's worth it. It's worth it with all his baggage. That's what.
Oh yeah, and the Supreme Court is going so well. Yeah,
that's the calculus for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Hey Bob, there was a news item I sent to you, and we did not cover it on SGU. Do you remember I sent this to you? The headline read, "At last, scientists have measured a paradoxical quantum phenomenon."
I read that.
At last.
For the first time, researchers were able to see experimentally that information shared between quantum subsystems depends on surface area rather than volume.
I haven't seen that. So what was...
Well, I forwarded it to you the other day, and I was hoping to get your opinion on it because, it's all quantum-y. Resend it?
Yeah, it's an email or text.
Email. Probably the same place Ian sent the email with the link to.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
No, you were on that list for that link, by the way. But I sent it. Let's see. The title of the email was "Quantum Alert." I figured that would get your attention, and I sent it on Wednesday. Steve, did you read that? And anything significant here, worthy of?
I didn't read it yet. No.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go through it and probably comment maybe next week.
All right, then we'll park it until then.
Also, we never mentioned what happened on April 15th, because after that
I know what happened.
we
April
missed
17th.
a couple of weeks. We missed a couple of weeks, and then it didn't come up last week. So you remember what happened on April 15th, Bill?
I don't.
There's only one thing that ever happens on April 15th.
Yeah. Well,
For me.
Liz and I eloped.
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
yeah, that's right.
I eloped on April 15th, so that's new and big in my life. I was kind of tired of living in sin. You know, I had to make it.
Because it's so important to you, Bob.
Couldn't live with all the sin that was all over the place.
So you're
but
clean now.
Yes.
Here's my favorite picture from that
The kingdom
day.
of heaven will welcome you someday.
Here's Liz and me. That picture of Liz.
Liz is great.
Her beautiful wedding dress.
She's awesome.
Yes, congrats from everybody.
It was just we just eloped. We're like, that's it. We're gonna do this. Nobody
knew.
I didn't know.
The justice of the peace and her husband taking pictures. Like that was it. It was a beautiful, like, you know.
Wait, Liz knows, right?
Yeah, I just
okay.
a few days ago.
No.
So then after that we had to get together with Steve and with Steve and Jay and their wives and close family. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad we did that. My daughter was there, so that's so yeah. It's
that's awesome. I'm so happy for you guys.
Yeah, that's the way to do it for a second marriage. Just
man. It was like no stress, no stress at all. It was like, yeah, that was the way to do it. So
that's dynamite.
Tip top job, Bob.
Super happy for both of you. You guys are a dynamite couple in my book.
No, thanks, man. Yeah, it was the Justice of Peace's husband, not Liz's husband.
Yeah, well, I think we got that.
Yeah. So,
you just never know. Bob will call you on a Saturday afternoon, and he could surprise you by saying he got married a half hour ago. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't know.
Hey, it happens.
Yes.
Good.
So,
did everybody get the QR code? Just I know a couple people scanned it, so I don't know if I
put it back up again, right there.
I'll just put it up for just a second.
Should we take some questions? I know we have to bail at 6
yeah.
tonight, right?
We're gonna do a 6 bail. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do some questions. I know we missed them last week. If you wanted to ask a question, if you're on our Discord, if you're a patron, go to the live stream questions channel. Sorry, Bob. What did you say?
It's not too bright for me, Bob.
Too bright.
Let's put on some sunglasses. You're good.
Good.
I didn't bring them.
All right.
Another reminder. So if you're planning on going to if you're a patron and you're planning on going to the conference, go on Discord and you can coordinate with other people to get transportation to and from the airports, and also you could find a roommate if you're looking to share a room.
All right, question. In the interview with Blake Lemoine, Steve brought up the point that Google model does not have an internal dialogue. It seems like people have set up systems where the output of one LLM is fed into another LLM and vice versa. Would this change Steve's thoughts, or is this just a hacky way of simulating internal dialogue, but there's still technically no internal dialogue?
It's the thing is, there's like 100 things that are missing. That was one of them. So just doing that one thing at least is taking a step in the right direction. But you would need to have a system where it's, you're not just taking the output over here and putting it over there. It's got to be like, our brains are massively parallel processors that have networks that are all meshed together. You know what I mean? It's not like just two different subsystems which are communicating with each other. It's different. And so the thing is, we don't really know because we don't have any example of something that operates in that way with that architecture that is sentient. So I think, if the most reliable way, I think, to have artificial sentience will be to mimic a vertebrate brain. But if we just are building more and more sophisticated AIs, I think it's going to be really hard for us to know at any point if it's genuinely sentient or if it's just acting that way.
Yeah. It's not sentient.
I mean, definitely it's not sentient. And just plugging its mouth into its tail is not going to do it. But I like the you guys remember the movie Deus Machina?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that wasn't very, if there ever were going to be a behavioral test for sentience, something like that would start to get compelling.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I got to watch that again. That was a good movie.
Did you guys read the article in Futurism? They interviewed Blake Lemoine.
You
Mm-mm.
told
I
us
sent it
about it.
to
I
you.
didn't read the
Yeah.
article yet.
And
He's going all in, right?
Oh,
He
the pull quote is, "There's a chance that, and I believe it's the case, they have feelings. The AI has feelings, and they can suffer and experience joy. And humans should at least keep that in mind when interacting with them."
Nah.
So,
When did he say that?
let's see, Futurism.
When was the
interview
interview? It's a real question.
was published on April 28th. So I don't know.
But he could have been interviewed weeks
It
before.
could have been, yeah, it could have been.
Yeah, but I doubt
uh,
we had much of an impact on his beliefs anyway, Steve. Even though
I know, just saying.
we made,
an important question just to ponder, because I don't know if we'll, if there's a real answer, is can we make a machine that's sophisticated enough to completely mimic life without it having any consciousness whatsoever?
So make
Yeah, I think we
like a
could.
pea zombie, create a pea zombie.
Yeah, I just wouldn't be doing it in the same way, right?
Right.
It would be doing it, again, like AI does, where it's, I say brute force. I mean, it's still sophisticated, but I mean, it's still like training a large language model on billions of human, interactions, so that it could mimic human interactions. That's the brute force way of doing it. That's not how a child learns.
Yeah.
But
its whole architecture is not based on consciousness the way that it was built.
Have you guys seen? So there was a good article that it showed like snapshots of GPT as it's being trained, which I thought was rather compelling, because you could see. So like, when we've all raised children, right? And you see as their language develops, they start with simple words, with single words, then they start to add complexity to it. But even at the most, primitive level, they're saying, like they're saying a single meaningful word with intent, and it has some comprehension behind it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then it just gets more sophisticated. But ChatGPT, it's like starts with gibberish, it's complete gibberish, and then it starts to get like, okay, it's sort of a little bit less gibberish, then there's like a word here and a word there, and then there's like snatches of phrases that are still incoherent, and then the phrases start to, have some internal consistency, and then they start, you know what I mean? It's like coming at it from a completely different direction than, say, a human learning language.
Yeah.
You could tell it has no, because it's utter gibberish pretty much right up until the end. You know what I mean? Right up until it gets to the point where it's, mimicking, it's putting the words together in a coherent way. It's not like it's never speaking simplistically. It's complicated gibberish until they line up, and then it's coherent, complicated, coherent speech.
Yeah,
That
but
makes sense. So to me, that is a strong argument against any kind of thinking or understanding. It's clearly just faking speech.
Yeah, but another element, Steve, another interesting, perhaps unrelated to your point at that point that you're making there, was though that if they follow the algorithm, basically at its most basic level, it's predicting the most likely next word.
Yeah.
If you follow that and you always use the most likely next word, then the output is not compelling. It's obviously not as fluent. It's not as interesting until they made a change. They randomly picked a point where instead of picking the most optimal, the highest probability next word, it randomly picks a non-highly probable next word. It just throws in another word there that's a little random and not the most likely.
Yeah.
And then and then it continues, and then it does it again. When they did that, that's when it was like, holy shit, look at how it's speaking now. It was a huge difference from it went from like kind of computerized and robotic to flowing like real prose by a person. That was a big sea change.
It could alter that variable, like how much randomness is in there.
That's exactly what they needed to tweak to make it. They found the sweet spot, and that's when it was.
And again, just
like,
throwing in some randomness has nothing to do with understanding or actual thinking.
Yeah, it's just a
language
bogus
mimicry.
premise. There's nothing there. The premise is bogus. There's no meat behind it at all.
Right.
At some point, humans will be faced with not really knowing, though, right? You know, it's going to happen at some point.
sometime.
And we're not there. But,
this is not it.
But I would find it more compelling if, like,
give me
data.
data.
There was a period of time where it had like a childlike intelligence that then slowly got more sophisticated, as opposed to complex gibberish that then aligns at some point to speech. You know what I mean? So it's not even in the ballpark at this point. It's like not at all, and it's not on a path. That's the other thing. This is a conceptual error that is very, very common. Is the assumption that any like technological or scientific advance is always on the path to more sophisticated versions of the same thing, and that's not always true. It's like with evolution, it's not true either. Like knuckle walking was not on a path to bipedalism. It was its own, end.
Yeah.
And it was not an intermediary stage to bipedalism. It's the same thing. Like the current high temperature superconductors may not be on a path to room temperature superconductors. It may be a dead end, right? Yeah. And large language models are not on a path to sentience,
right?
Because they're not even headed in that direction. They're doing it a completely different way.
Yeah, it's
Next question.
But it's still
the mechanical duck. Like if you built a steampunk mechanical duck, no matter how good you make it at acting like a duck, it's never a fucking duck. You know what I mean? It's never going to become a living duck because you're getting a more and more sophisticated, doll.
Yeah, that mechanical owl from Clash of the Titan, the same thing.
Yeah.
But still, though, I'm very curious of what kind of emergent, unpredictable behavior can come from, something like a GPT-4, 4.5, or even if they get to 5 or 6.
Not sentience, but there could be emergent behavior, sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're seeing emergent behavior now that wasn't basically inherently unpredictable, which is kind of what emergent behavior means. But I'm very curious to see what can come of that as it gets more complicated, and who knows what will be in there. What will emerge when it gets even more complicated?
But Bob, your explanation also explains the hallucinations, because it's when it's finding the next most common word. It's training on the internet, right? So even when it's like you're asking it a question about a specific person, and it may come up with an answer that is common for that type of person, even though it's not for that individual person. Because if you just look on the internet statistically, what do they think, like, Jay, that you made movies or something? Because something triggered, it to think like the next most common word of somebody who has this word is somebody who's involved in producing movies or something. So then it says that. Does that make sense? So that's part of where the hallucinations comes from. It's not filling in what's most likely for you. It's filling in the next most likely word.
Yeah.
Because it has no understanding who you are. And that word may be just statistically likely in general, but have nothing to do with you. But it just makes that association and it fills in incorrect information.
One of the things that guy, the godfather of artificial intelligence guy, said, they were talking about like the amount of connections, like neurological connections that it has and all that. It was equating how they simulate that programmatically. And I just don't buy it. That's the thing. Like, again, no AI expert has come out and said, people have said that there's a potential danger here, but nobody has said we are teetering on consciousness. Like, it's not happening. It's just it's not anywhere in the software. It's just good software. That's like saying, because this app that I use does the job really good, there is something else going on. Right? I just don't see it. That guy Blake Lemoine that we interviewed, I don't get how he's coming to that conclusion.
Yeah, he's just wrong.
It's not rational at all.
Let me address what Bill just wrote in the chat, because that's the kind of gibberish that ChatGPT was producing is completely nothing like the kind of babbling that toddlers do. What toddlers are doing is they are before they can make actual words, they're saying phonemes, right? They are saying the parts of words, and they're also getting the inflection, which is a different part of the brain, and it's a different part of speech. So what you're seeing is the different parts of speech, these different modules coming into place. They're learning phonemes, they're learning intonation, and then eventually they start to put them together into words, and then they start putting those words together into sentences or into sentence fragments, and then eventually into sentences. Again, that's not what ChatGPT was doing. It was speaking in full gibberish sentences, right? Completely different.
And also, though, I think it's weird to think that its consciousness would come about like human consciousness does. Anyway, it's different. It's going to be different.
Yeah.
It's not going to function the same way that the human brain does. I mean, right, Steve?
Yeah, because it's not a human brain. All right, let's take another question.
Next question.
Next AI question.
I'm going to switch the QR code to where you can book the room.
Oh,
okay.
By the way, so
book a room.
Book a room. We need to make sure we get 100 people at least to book rooms.
There's
please.
4 O's there. Book a room.
Book.
A room.
Ian's right. We need 100 people to do it.
Yeah, we need 100.
We need at least.
Jay, was there a complication?
Let's get that today.
Yes,
was there what, Bob?
Complication where like the first night wasn't part of the real package where you can get a discount and
that was just that's all hearsay. You can't.
That was a rumor, vicious rumor.
No, what happened was it took the hotel a long time to give me the link, which basically gives you the discounted rate on the room. So anybody that made a hotel reservation without using that link needs to just simply cancel their current reservation and then rebook using the link. That's it.
Rebooking is the important part of that. Yes.
Yeah.
One of our patrons just tagged us was saying, a friend of mine works for Microsoft in AI. Well, when we work together, he told me AI always has to give an answer so it can be given feedback as positive or negative. The answer I don't know does not help it hone in on the correct answer, which is
it's interesting.
Seemingly problematic if you're using it. Okay, let's see.
Skepta Brarian just told me that the hotel is not giving a discount for Thursday night. I will call them.
For Thursday night?
Yeah, I'll call them on that. That's ridiculous.
They're only doing Friday, Saturday night.
I'm going to email her right now.
Not doing the night before the day we have the rooms booked?
That's ridiculous.
Oh, that's a good.
We are starting pretty early.
We'll fix that.
You could just camp out in the room. It's totally fine. We'll just bring
it's
some tents.
stuff like that pisses me off. Like, really? That's what you're going to do? Like, give me a freaking break. I'm bringing hundreds of people to your hotel. You're not going to give them the discount the night before.
We will get this fixed.
This one, I don't know if there's a follow-up to the Alzheimer's breakthrough question for Steve. Is it legit?
So I'm assuming you're talking about the recent study looking at, I think it was a monoclonal antibody where it slowed down the progression of Alzheimer's by a third. So I haven't done a deep dive into the data. That seems to be what it's showing. And this is about where we are with the research. There's a lot going on in Alzheimer's research. And with the new monoclonal antibodies as a therapeutic mechanism, so it's probably legit, but I have to do a deep dive on the data to see to really clarify. Maybe I'll talk about it next week. But
no immediate sort of red flags popped up from
no red flag. It was
cursory
just
look.
Yeah,
nothing. Okay,
and
right.
you know, it's
good start.
You know, it's about time. You know, it's taking longer than I thought it was going to take for some of the basic science to translate into therapeutics, but it feels like we're just getting there now. But it's not a risk-free drug. I know some of the subjects died on the drug. So it's there may be some safety issues with it. So again,
did they all die of a similar?
Dive.
Did they all die of a similar cause?
I don't know. I have to take a look.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's an anti-amyloid treatment, but
yikes!
It's a complicated area of research.
Tough nut to crack, boy.
All right, 6 o'clock, guys. So
yeah,
you want to take one
ring
more
the bell.
question, and then
one more
go?
question.
I have
sure.
a bell if you want to ring it. You want to ring the
Are Lyme disease carrying ticks a concern in the Northeast with climate change? They've moved up here
absolutely.
recently.
Oh yeah.
You
mean near Lyme, Connecticut? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's something I mean, like when you live in Connecticut, like every year you're tracking how many ticks are there this year? Did they spray? You know, what's the Lyme incidence like? It's
if you live
don't go out into the woods without your legs being covered.
Protection.
I mean, it's a way of life up here.
It is. It's recommended that if you have a lawn and you go in your lawn, that you get your lawn sprayed multiple times this summer just to whack back.
Yeah, I have a treatment for mine. Yeah.
Jay, you had Lyme, or someone in your family had Lyme, didn't they?
Courtney had it, I think.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Courtney had it. I thought.
Yeah.
Awful.
I know tons of people who have had it. I have tons of patients who have had it. I mean, it's very, very common. It's endemic,
what's the pseudoscience we've talked about in relation to Lyme disease? It's been a while.
The pseudoscience? Well, the pseudoscience is chronic active Lyme disease. The people who think that you can have Lyme disease, you can get treated with antibiotics, and then you still have Lyme disease. It didn't quite get rid of the antibiotics. You have to be treated over and over again. That's never been proven. It's actually been disproven, I think, pretty significantly. And the people who believe in it are basically quacks who are just trying to make a lot of money by selling IV antibiotics over and over again. And they're really predatory, in my opinion. But if you get like a thorough course of IV antibiotics, it will kill off all the Lyme in your body.
Yeah.
Now, people can have post-Lyme symptoms. That's different. That's not the same thing as active Lyme. Post-Lyme symptoms do not respond to antibiotics because there's no infection. You just got to be treated for your symptoms, whatever they are. It could be fatigue, mental fogginess, whatever.
If you live in Lyme, Connecticut for your whole life, do you have chronic Lyme disease?
Thank you. Good night. Not more. I know you're just kidding, but it's not more common in Lyme, Connecticut than it is in other parts of Connecticut. It just happens to be where the first case was identified. It's
Ian,
not like
it's
the
very
epicenter
important
or anything.
Yes.
Very important that you do something nice for somebody this weekend.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, that's
Does
what I'm
myself
recommending.
count?
What's that?
Does myself count?
Yeah, do something nice to yourself.
I mean, yeah, you can treat yourself nicely, but it's good. You want to
have a hamburger, you know?
Hey, go do something nice for yourself.
Yeah, right.
Ian, eat some Rita's ice cream.
Oh yeah. Speaking of the steamed hams incident in the chat.
Oh gosh, yeah, right. It kind of took over the chat there.
It's just a Simpsons meme. But Connecticut is known for steamed hams, specifically steamed hamburgers. In Meriden, Connecticut, there's like a famous place that steams their hamburgers.
Yep.
In Meriden? I don't think I've ever had that. Steamed hamburgers in Meriden.
It's like a weird little spot that's been there since the 50s.
Yeah, the Simpsons got that all wrong. They mentioned it came out of Utica, New York. They're so wrong. They're so
liars. Wrong. Take that email.
Well, have a nice weekend.
Yes.
That's it. I'm going to ring the bell.
It'll be a good spring weekend, everyone.
Ring the bell.
Ring it.
Ring that bell.
Thank you. Come again.
Thank you. Oh, God. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Night, everyone.
Where's the graphic? There it is.
Skeptic's Guide to the Universe is produced by SGU Productions, dedicated to promoting science and critical thinking. For more information, visit us at theskepticsguide.org. Send your questions to info@theskepticsguide.org. And if you would like to support the show and all the work that we do, go to patreon.com/skepticsguide and consider becoming a patron and becoming part of the SGU community. Our listeners and supporters are what make SGU possible.
Oh.
Did I leave my camera on? Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
That is a no-no. What you're supposed to do is take a Post-it or something. I've seen this done. This is a trick. They do it in
That's true.
offices. They take whatever, a Post-it, and you just hang it over your
There you go.
camera.
So the Fed doesn't know.
Stop the NSA, the FBI, and Ian from knowing and seeing everything that you're doing.
That's true. I will remote in.
So I'm a little disappointed with Jay.
Oh no, I know. Jay doesn't.
Is it okay?
know.
I can say this
No, it's
because he's he's has to go at 6, but the last couple of times he really hasn't stuck around for the post, at least for a couple seconds at least. He really gets up and goes. I guess.
I think he forgot. Now he doesn't remember.
You think
now
so?
It's our thing. I don't. I think.
Well, that's interesting.
Because
should
when
not
you
be
were gone,
reminded.
he wasn't there. So
it's kind of like the flashy deal thing with what is it? Men in Black.
Men in Black, yeah.
You forgot.
The remind stick. I think that when you just hit him with it, it's the reminder stick.
Someone's asking me, Lee Marsh, what's the Mars book behind me? The Mars book we're talking about.
It's a game.
My game here?
Terraforming Mars.
Terraforming Mars.
I played that game. It's good.
It was a good game. It was a real good game. Highly recommended. We reviewed it in our first year of Which Game First, the board game podcast. And this one is sealed up. I haven't even opened it. We played my friend's version of the game, and it's great. It is as it sounds. You're explorers. You're sent to Mars. You're different companies, and it is up to you to terraform Mars into this, livable, basically habitat. You start with the barren land, and you purchase assets, resources, and those sorts of things, and try to build up the best civilization that you can on Mars. They have one power in this game. It's a bunch of cards, and among other things, you can actually use like a tractor beam to pull in a passing comet or asteroid or something and crash it into the surface, so that it creates an environment, which is something that I think, at least theoretically, has been discussed. Was it Elon Musk who said that years ago or something like that? Somebody talked about terraforming Mars, I think, in specifically that way. So there's cool stuff going on in that game. Great components, great, plays well. It's really, really good game. And also the reason I was late today, a little late, as Jay said, 3 seconds, because I had just gotten done being over at a virtual conference for board game designers, in which we were guests, and they were asking us questions. But it turned into it was a game design conference, but they asked us about questions about LARPing and live action role playing, because they found out that's part of my background in the gaming industry. Is I used to run a LARP for a company for 5 years and played for many years prior to that. So they were more fascinated with talking about LARPing than they did, actually talking about board game design and these kinds of things. And it of course eventually led to the story about that's where I met Steve and Bob and Jay. I had known Perry before that, but that's where I met the Novellas in 1992, and where it all kind of our lifelong friendship and relationship started there. And this was 5 years before, 4.5 years before we started the Connecticut Skeptical Society. So skepticism came afterwards. It was gaming and LARPing prior to that. So it was cool. For a whole hour, we talked about that. Talked about a bunch of things I hadn't talked about in a very, very long time. So that's where I was, in case anyone was wondering. And also Kelly asked earlier, I noticed in the chat about a half hour ago, she had, I don't know if anyone else saw it, she said, what games will I be bringing to the Nauticon con? Because one of the things we were talking about potentially doing, I think we will ultimately wind up doing it, is board games with all the attendees. So we're if that it's unofficial right now, but if that is one of the activities that we're going to do, which obviously I'm all for, we will then poll the attendees, find out what board games they like, if there are specific ones, and we will make sure that we have enough of those games that everyone wants to play available. Plus, there may be highly likely that my friends, my co-hosts from Which Game First will come and help everyone and help set up the board games and run them for people if they need. And it'll turn into kind of this. My two circles of podcasting will come full circle in a sense, all in one event there. So that'll be a lot of fun. That'll be a lot of fun. Yes, Daniel sees Wingspan on the shelf. That is a really good game as well. Award-winning game, Wingspan by Elizabeth Hargrave. She's a board game designer, and I've done interviews, with her. Her next game that she's developing right now is about mushrooms. She is a fungophile. She belongs to like a fungus club or something in Maryland or Washington D.C., somewhere around there, in which that's their thing. They talk about mushrooms. They go out looking for mushrooms. They, are just totally into the world of mushrooms. So that's going to be her next game. Her next board game that she's designing is going to be all about mushrooms. So
sounds like she's a fun lady.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saving all those puns for material for the show. I can't burn them all here.
Sure. So yes, please do sign up for Nauticon if you haven't, or if you're available, or if you're in the area, or if you're not, and then we'll fly in and you want to stay at a hotel. You can register, and here you can also book a room, and then you can maybe register again if you want to, and then make sure you book a room.
Yeah, and for anyone who is going to come in and stay on that Thursday, don't worry, Jay will get that worked out with the
we'll
hotel.
get that.
We'll get that discount on it.
We have plenty of time.
Yep. There is plenty of time. And so far, the numbers are encouraging from what I'm hearing. The amount of people who have purchased tickets is robust right now, and we hope that continues, because we really want several hundreds of our friends and listeners to be there for this very special event. It's going to be awesome. I'm so.
And if we get 200 people, we will have steamed hams. I'm confirming this with Jay.
Absolutely. There's a board game called Steamed Hams as well.
Is there?
We will play that game. Absolutely. Glad I made you crack up. All right, that's it for me. I'm going. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Next week. Be well.